What is poppin', everybody? I'm back again with another video, and guess what? It is that time again to review the power of the World War Hulk, also known as the Planet Hulk character, also known as the Green Scar, and many also call him the World Breaker Hulk. But in my personal opinion, I don't usually call him the World Breaker Hulk unless he gets to a certain rage level, because in my opinion, World Breaker is an anger level, not necessarily a personality, while Green Scar, the Sakarson, is actually a personality. He's just the first personality to actually get to that levels of anger in the Hulk's career, which is why everybody has dubbed him the World Breaker Hulk, because this is the only Hulk persona, coincidentally, that got to the anger level where he started oozing gamma radiation, hence the name World Breaker Hulk, hence being the breaker of worlds. But how strong is World War Hulk? World War Hulk is one of those characters where some people that are uneducated would pretty much lowball him for the simple fact. I've said this before in the past, and I'll say it again. He is one of those characters where he has a lot of battle feats, and if you don't look into those battle feats, it's easy to lowball him because the feats that he has are a lot more pressing when you dissect them and when you analyze how strong the battle feats are and the characters he's fighting in the World War Hulk arc and how strong they are. Like, he doesn't have feats like busting an asteroid 2 times a surf, a form like Grey Hulk can, even though he's confirmed to be stronger than Grey Hulk. A lot of people that are new to the community and power scaling will say Grey Hulk is stronger because Grey Hulk has busted an asteroid and World War Hulk hasn't. Even though Green Scar has busted planets also, but he does not have feats like how Savage Hulk has, like causing multiversal earthquakes and hurting some really crazy beings in Savage Hulk state. But like I said before, when it comes to lore and when it comes to writer intent, the writer intent consistently through World War Hulk was to make him one of the strongest Hulks due to his rage levels. And I'm going to analyze and dissect why in this current video. So sit back, relax, get your popcorn, and let's analyze debatably one of my favorite personalities of the Hulk of all time, due to him being pretty much having similarities to Professor Hulk due to being smart, not super crazy smart, but having some form of good intellect and having a personality like Joey Fixit, being kind of like a thug a little bit, kind of being savage, being an a-hole, not being too uppity, not being too happy, but he also has intellect of manner in there to mix with it. But what makes him unique is his meditation, his strategies, his abilities to use his abilities due to his training with his Warbound and things like that. Like, it's okay to call him the World Breaker Hulk because I understand where that came from, for the simple fact he is the first Hulk personality to get that rage level. But let's go over some of his lower end feats to start off this feat run, shall we? The actual Blackbird from the X-Men actually landed on the Hulk. He was pretty much fine afterwards, just pretty much more annoyed than ever. Blast from Cyclops, he pretty much endures it, tanks it, grabs Cyclops, gets cut by Wolverine, swats him away. Even characters like Emma Frost can't hurt him. Even characters that would normally somewhat give at least Grey Hulk a challenge, like Colossus, can't do nothing to World War Hulk, showing that he's in a totally new levels of power. It's so cute that the military still tries to hold World War Hulk when they couldn't even defeat the normal Hulk. Deep moment with him and flashbacks of his sweetie. Hulk gets pissed in the crater with all those missiles landing in him. There is this mutant known as Strong Guy that can absorb kinetic energy. Got hit by his own kinetic energy because Strong Guy reverted it back. But he pretty much injured himself because he got overloaded. There's a time he was able to somehow fight a Black Bolt Scroll. I don't think it would have mattered because I feel like the real Black Bolt would have got messed up by this version of Hulk either way, but that's none of my business. Able to take a blast from him, big chunks was flying off. And Hulk defeated this version of this Scroll Black Bolt. As you can see, blitzed Iron Man in one of his best versions of his Hulkbuster suits ever, layers on layers, takes him through a building in the process. Pretty much curb stomps Ares, the God of War of Marvel. He's not as strong as the DC version, but still impressive. X-23 is pretty much tossed by the Hulk. Poor military soldiers tried to fight a World War Hulk when they can't beat the normal one. Incapacitates all of them with a thunderclap, simply easy. After Kitty Pryde tried to put the Hulk in the ground with her phasing ability, he pretty much knocked her out with a thunderclap, KOing her, as you can see right here in the scan. After fighting Hercules and hurting him really bad, he sends Namora and Angel flying with a thunderclap. The Hulk did a punt kick and pretty much said he kicked her to New Jersey. Was able to curb stomp She-Hulk, light work. Completely curb stomped the Juggernaut, like when he was like, not at full power, but he was not at his normal levels of power when he did this, but this is still cool to look at and satisfying. Landslide, a mutant, gets destroyed and slings him. I mentioned that he fought the Fantastic Four, pretty much destroyed the super genius known as Reed Richards. Another scan of him pretty much flattening Reed Richards, literally. One of the coolest moments is where World War Hulk actually fought the actual Juggernaut when he finally got the power of Sidorak to his normal levels of power. The fight was very entertaining. It was very intriguing. But since Hulk doesn't actually want to fight him in the first place, he pretty much freaking tosses him to the side by using his unstoppable motion to keep him running and move him off the battlefield. Shown to do casual stuff like jump into the air, catching missiles, grabbing it out of the air in the process. Impressive that he was actually able to use his jumping speed to even catch up to it that fast. He's able to take Cyclops' blink beams and Dragonfire at the same time. Not to mention fighting the entire X-Men roster at the same time and getting the upper hand. Now, to the naked eye, this feat may not seem like nothing. Hulk was able to resist being drained. You know the thing that happens to Hulk in the past between his fights with Silver Surfer? The Hulk and Silver Surfer in the past have always ended with Silver Surfer getting the advantage simply because he was just absorbed the gamma out of him, making him into like pretty much Banner, and he can't fight back. Darwin tried to do the same thing. It didn't work this time. Darwin is a mutant that is able to adapt to survive, right? And Hulk was trying to punch Darwin. Darwin's best adaptation technique was to not overpower him by getting his powers or mimicking him, but teleporting away. For you to, a lot of people don't analyze how crazy this is considering what Darwin has done in the past. There was this time the Hell Lord tried to do the Death Touch. Darwin was able to adapt to the Five and actually become pretty much his own version of Hela himself, get all her abilities and overpower her this way. This shows the absurd levels of his adapting ability, but yet he cannot adapt to the Hulk when it comes to mimicking his powers like this, and he was just, said to be able to just teleport away. That's insane. There was a time the Human Torch was able to shoot a Nova Blast at the Hulk. He was able to endure it. Look at this massive explosion. Invisible Woman even had to shield herself. Walks through the heat of the sun like nothing. Evidently, his clothes must be heat of the sun too, or he would be naked. But let's be honest, we don't want to deal with no heat. We don't want to see no nude Hulk, so that's probably why. There was also this time he was able to fight Ghost Rider, one of the most powerful beings in the world. Endures his hellfire, but they never really got in a full-out fight because Ghost Rider just left because he felt like it wasn't his fight because the people that he's fighting are not innocent. One of his coolest feats was the military attack. You're probably like, what? The military? What are they going to do? The military actually had adamantium shrapnel bullets. Despite all of this, and despite all this pain, despite all this stuff being able to actually pierce his skin, all it seemed to do was piss him off despite it actually being able to damage adamantium, showing that this metal that ignores durability is not enough to cut it in this situation. Remember how Death Battle said you can overload his healing factor? Well, it's stated right here, can't kill the Hulk. It's an overdose of your healing touch. So I'm hoping it'll overload his healing factor, which is the only way we stand a chance. What if you're wrong? What if I do kill him? Son, they'll probably give you a medal. He does it, but it only makes him angrier. So get that overloading your healing factor mess out of here. Reed Richards, one of the few guys that some would say is the smartest being, the human being on the planet Earth, pretty much stated that there's no way Sue Storm could beat the Hulk in this state, which makes sense due to the history. And if anybody would know how strong the characters in Marvel are, it would be Reed Richards. This is a big statement. Don't undermine it. After all, Reed Richards is the same character that, with prep time, is smart enough to make a weapon that can nullify the power of cosmic cubes. He is ridiculously smart. So anything Reed Richards says coming out of his mouth when it comes to power levels and character statements means a lot. Everybody knows about this famous fight, Hulk versus Sentry. Even if you didn't even read about this comic, you know about this fight. Because of the sheer spectacle and epicness that went down in this fight, Sentry, one of the most powerful heroes in existence, have the power of 1 million exploding suns, was one of the few people that was able to make Hulk actually put forth some effort other than Juggernaut in this issue. It's interesting because in most encounters with Sentry, the Hulk usually automatically loses due to the fact of his calming hacks and aura calms the Hulk down. But here it doesn't seem to matter because he's getting hit multiple times. Being able to take blitzes and reacts from him. Hitting him while he's in the middle of blitz. Being able to trade blows blow for blow with Sentry. Hitting him with all kinds of power. Destroying city blocks in the process. Even if you don't take this particular scan as canon, it has been stated so many times throughout the history of Sentry's lore that he has the power of 1 million exploding suns. And considering the people he fights on a regular basis, Silver Surfer is even solar system level, so it seems more appropriate since multiple characters in Marvel are multi-solar system level when it comes to attack power. It also should be noted every time the Sentry interacts with the Hulk, he has a calming aura, but for some reason the Hulk was so pissed, pretty much able to nullify this effect in the War Hulk arc. He has to have the power of 1 million exploding suns. It's the fact that he can still possess planet-busting power even while shrunk to a subatomic particle. Like, you're that small, but you can create an explosion that big to bust a planet? Even that small? Come on, guys. He literally does have the power of 1 million exploding suns. But then Lowballer's going to say, well, if he had the power of 1 million exploding suns, why he didn't destroy the whole planet? Look here. It has already been set in stone that throughout fiction, Dragon Ball and all, that just because a planet buster fights another planet buster does not mean that the planet is always going to be in danger. Heck, there's been cases where Skyfathers have fought on a planet and the planet didn't explode. But you think they're moon level? You think they're country level at best? Because every time they fight, the planet doesn't automatically explode. The planet doesn't automatically have to explode. That would be very frustrating to write for a planet always to get exploded and they have to find a way to write the characters back because they 2 planet busters fall on the planet and blew up the whole darn planet. That's a sad excuse, and you can't use the excuse of collateral damage to talk about, well, I guess they're not on that level if they didn't show that level of collateral damage. That's like saying they're only city block level because of Hulk Compass city blocks or city or they call him city level because you can see the whole planet explode. When you got smart characters like Reed Richards saying he's never unleashed it like this before, lets you know that Sentry is fighting for real. And just because the whole planet or solar system ain't blow up doesn't mean he's holding back against the Hulk in this state. I've never been a fan of going over the stable, unstable argument because that junk is ambiguous at best. It's not like every comic's going to tell you if he's stable or not. So even bother trying to figure that out. I'm still, if he's stable or unstable, I can deduct or conclude the fact he still has the power of 1 million exploding suns at least, based on the feat I just showed you. And Wonder Hulk was able to match him while he was fighting this hard. Even Reed Richards said he's never unleashed it like this before. Among other abilities, he is unable to pretty much take control of the Hulk's mind, showing massive resistance to even telepath as powerful as Professor X. Another telepath tries to control his mind and it doesn't work. Through meditation and practice with the Warband, he has actually learned to be able to control his rage and make it rise at will. The bond is really deep and cool, something you don't see with Hulk lore nowadays. Green Scar is one of the best personas. She-Hulk stated out of her mouth that Hulk smashes about 1,000 times harder than that. For those that are still skeptical about the Sentry, I know I'm getting on Sentry a lot, but it was stated right here. Against an opponent this powerful, the amount of energy I have to expend if I lost control for even a millisecond is implying that Sentry was in full control, the reason why he just didn't blow everything up, but he could have, but he had to keep it self-contained area of effect style so he doesn't blow up the planet with the power of 1 million exploding suns. It is too deeply in the lore of Sentry for this to be an exaggeration. It's stated right here in this handbook that he has the power of 1 million exploding suns. Still not convinced he has the power of 1 million exploding suns. The creator of the Sentry, I Googled the creator of Sentry. The writer of the Sentry even stated he has the power of 1 million supernovas. There's not much you can perceive that like. The Hulk in this Green Scar state has a lot of lore at this point, and he has a lot of writer intent. But to make matters worse, Doctor Strange was able to sense that he's never been angry, so he's never been stronger, ever. So they're trying to say up until this point, that he's never been this angry before, and this is the angriest he's ever been. Now, a lot of people won't dissect what this means, and a lot of people will not understand what this actually means, but this is actually a huge statement, and if this is true, this would mean that he would be madder or angrier than the time he fought against Onslaught when he was mindless Hulk state. And don't forget, the Hulk has had a lot of times in the comics where he's gotten berserker crazy levels of anger without even being Worldbreaker Hulk before. And remember the time he fought Onslaught and slugged it out when nobody could ever? Like Onslaught, the crazy being that has a whole bunch of characters inside of him at once. Hulk was able to fight him when characters like Thor and Juggernaut couldn't when he was mindless Hulk state. What are Hulk supposed to be angrier than this state of the Hulk? If they're saying he's never been angry, they're saying he was angrier in World War Hulk than this, and he was pretty angry right here. Hopefully over a 10 times power boost back then. Let's also not forget the time where Thor actually got into this thing known as the Warrior's Madness, where his strength was increased tenfold. Despite Thor having this power up, a 10 times Thor power up, Warrior's Madness, before even Worldbreaker, before Mindless, he was mad enough to get to the point where he can fight a Thor times 10. These are the limitations of his anger being able to increase, showing that he can fight characters that are already godlike times 10. War Hulk is supposed to be angrier than this, which means he's supposed to be even stronger than this occasion, which means this would mean War Hulk has to at least be 10 times stronger than Savage Hulk. Think about this for a second. Doctor Strange, this is the maddest he's ever been, and we all know the madder Hulk is the strongest Hulk gets. That's his literally whole mythos. And the fact that we've seen some absurd moments of anger in Hulk's career, like the time he was mad enough to fight Onslaught, when before he couldn't in the same comic. If he got mad enough here to the point that he was madder than the Hulk that fought Onslaught, he was madder than that occasion, that's straight up absurd. Onslaught is a Skyfather level being at least lowballing him. Not to mention, he's also had another occasion where he was able to fight Thor times 10. And War Hulk is supposed to be angrier than this, aka stronger than that Hulk that we saw back then fight that Thor. Hopefully I've given you a better understanding of War Hulk's power level and the fact that he's way past planet level at this point based on the opponents he fights when you dissect the people he's actually defeated. But if you thought that wasn't crazy, if you thought fighting Sentry was impressive, having the power of 1 million exploding suns, then let me introduce you to Doctor Strange, debatably his most powerful opponent he faced in the entire arc that nobody freaking paid his attention to. Doctor Strange is one of the most versatile beings. Now, I will admit, it was stated in the War Hulk comic that Doctor Strange, if he would just bloodlusted and just wanted to be an a-hole and just wanted to obliterate Hulk, I stated, and I will admit I agree with it, that he could have via hacks like being able to actually remove his soul. They actually stated that in the comic. He was actually able to remove his soul if he wanted to, but Doctor Strange didn't do that because he still had faith in Bruce and he was his friend and he didn't want to just obliterate him out of existence. So he wanted to fight him blow for blow in an energy, physical type battle. That's why he didn't do another course of action like hacks, like a lot of people are saying beating him was PIS and stuff like that. But this is what Doctor Strange did instead. There's this being known as Zom. a abstract level being that he was able to get some of his energy and siphon it off of, and he used that to battle the Hulk. This is the point right here where he actually wanted to amp himself to be able to fight the Hulk by drinking the soul of a demon. Doing so was able to allow him to compete with Water War Hulk in a physical blow. This is a massively powered up Doctor Strange. Debatably, well, not really debatably, I'm more than sure that this is more impressive than fighting the Century, and he was able to take multiple attacks from this Doctor Strange, even being able to endure multiple holes being poked in his body. He's possessed with the power of Zom, an abstract level being. He took all this assault from him, and when Doctor Strange started losing control of this ridiculous demon, he started putting innocent civilians in danger. In this brief moment, Doctor Strange realized he was messing up. The Hulk actually had to save people, even though he swore he was the good guy in this situation. Hulk actually used this to get the upper hand, started punching him multiple times. Some could say he could have knocked the Zom out of him or knocked the deity out of him. This is absurd. Knocking a Doctor Strange amp with an abstract being. Now, I will admit, I don't believe Zom was at full power, but I don't care. An abstract being on this level, 1% or less than 1% of his power is still ridiculous levels of power. I hope to Christ you're still not lowballing Zom Strange or Zom or Doctor Strange in general after what I've just shown you. Well, if you're still not convinced, remember the time known as Doctor Strange in the classic days where he was known as Classic Doctor Strange, aka when he was more powerful? Zom was back during those days too. He was able to give Doctor Strange in the classic days a run for the money even back in these days. Yeah, he's that much of a threat. And it wasn't even easy for the classic Doctor Strange, a being that can fight Dormammu. Not superior or nothing, but still. The fact that this being known as the Living Tribunal had to interfere on the matters lets you know that he's a crazy threat. Well, guys, there you have it. I don't know if there's anything else I can do to prove to you World War Hulk's power, and he's not just a planet buster because he doesn't have any feats higher than that BS. Because fighting Zom Strange, fighting Sentry, a being that has power of 1 million exploding suns, has right intent saying he has the power of 1 million exploding suns, has been stated multiple times in comics to have the power of 1 million exploding suns. I don't see how you can deny that at this point. Doctor Strange, a being that's already way past planet level on his own, amped himself by drinking the soul of a demon, even if it wasn't nowhere near his full power. Zom was a being where the Living Tribunal had to interfere on and was able to rival classic Doctor Strange. Hulk was able to fight a Doctor Strange amp with this same being. If that's planet level, then I guess higher than planet level must be multiversal. I don't know. Like if that's not enough to convince you that he's way past planet level at this point, just because you ain't seen him destroy a solar system doesn't mean he ain't past that level. Fighting Zom Strange is an indication of him being way past that level. The Hulk, Water War Hulk, one of my favorite incarnations of the Hulk personality-wise, has some of the greatest battle feats in the history of Hulk history, which is why so many people respect him. It's not because he lifted some heavy crap that a lot of Hulks haven't done. It's not because we've seen him hold open a black hole. It's not for those reasons. It's because of his ridiculous battle feats. Some of the greatest battle feats we have ever seen, fighting some of the most powerful beings in the universe. Doctor Strange, Sentry, Juggernaut. Doctor Strange with the power of an abstract being inside of him, even if it's 1%, is absurd. But did you guys know Water War Hulk was this strong? Do you want to see him again in a new Immortal Hulk series? Do you want me to do more in a series like this? Was this too long of a video? Do you want me to do more videos like this, breaking it down this deeply? But make sure you post some comments down below. Let me know what you all think. If there's any Water War Hulk lowballers out there, share this video to them to let them know the real truth. Stated to be stronger than he's ever been. Oh, by the way, all those feats I just named, you want to know something funny? It's also been confirmed after that arc was over during the Heart of the Mont story that after all that stuff you just see me go over, all that Water War Hulk feats, all that power, him fighting Zom, him fighting Sentry, him fighting Juggernaut, guess what? He was holding back the entire time. If that's not enough proof for you, I don't know what is. But that's just me. Make sure you post comments down below.